Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. In today's video, we're going to talk about Mike. Now, Mike is a friend of mine. This is a Facebook post that I asked people to comment on and give me some ideas of what they would like to see, how I would approach using Claude or just AI in general. Mike has worked in the past selling cabinets and flooring and countertops, things of that nature. All right. I'm going to show you how to take a blueprint and get a set of documents that you can then send to your client. And it's going to have your proposal, your statement of work, and a spreadsheet that shows the dimensions of all the rooms, the total dimensions, the materials that are going to be needed, and the cost, the associated cost of the flooring, as well as your work schedule for the crew if you've got a certain number of days that you have to accomplish in it. But before we get started, I just wanted to say thank you for watching. If you would, subscribe. Maybe like the video if you like it. If you have any ideas, send them to me. I'm happy to record a video for you on these kinds of things. But let's get in. So Mike wrote Accurate Quoting and Bidding for Residential or Commercial Construction Industry, a platform where you can upload drawings and AI reads the plans and is accurately able to quote with company header. Just had to throw something out there. Well, Mike, here's your video. So we're going to dive right in. I'm going to show you how I would approach this. There's not a linear path for this. This is just free form. I'm going to show you my thought process behind some of this. I have a prompt that I have worked up because the last thing you want to see is me typing. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to open Claude. And when you open Claude, this is what you see. We're going to go into projects and we're going to create a project. We're going to say this is Mike's project. And projects are kind of like little areas where you can give some additional instructions and you can provide files. And those are things that Claude will refer back to when it's doing all of its work. So go ahead and close this. And so you can see here instructions, you can open this. And the way that you might use this is instead of having to put in who you are, I could put in a lot of the stuff that I'm about to put in this first prompt, and I could put it in the instructions and I would never have to repeat it again. Okay. So I'm doing it one way because I'm not repeating this over and over again. But if this was actually my project and I was doing this, I would take the time and fill in like, hey, my name is Michael Thomas. I work for so-and-so. These are the kinds of products that we carry from these lines and so on and so forth. And Claude will always refer back to these instructions every time you give it a prompt in this project. The other thing that you can do, and I think this is actually kind of cool, is you can add files here. So one of the things that you'll see is that I've created a file for Mike's Flooring Company, because Mike does kitchens and cabinets and countertops and flooring and stuff like that. So we're going to create a little company here called Mike's Flooring, professional installation since 2012. Doesn't exist, don't go looking for it, but, or at least it doesn't yet, Mike, eh? And then I've worked up a prompt that says, I want you to act as a flooring contractor. I've uploaded the floor plans. I need you to identify each room, estimate the square footage of each, and give me a total. Assume a standard 8% waste factor for flooring. That can be any number. If yours is higher than that or lower than that, change it. If there's a scale bar or dimensions on the plan, use them. If not, tell me and give me your best estimate based on typical room proportions. We're going to put carpet in the offices, LVP in the main areas, so laminated vinyl plank, in the main areas, and tile in the bathrooms. I need you to account for transitions, baseboards, glue, and any other materials needed as well. And we'll have to install everything over a weekend. How many people will it take and what is the associated cost? I want you to build a Google Sheet that calculates all of this. Now, in the comments below, if you're in the trades and this is something that you do on a regular basis, tell me how long this takes, because I'm just going to copy and paste this prompt. And actually going back to this real quick, from that part up could be instructions. Okay, I'm back. All right, I prompted it at 2:25 and it's now 2:31. It took about 5 minutes. And you'll see that it's opened up another window here in Claude. You can start to see the spreadsheet here that it's built. So basically it's saying that front lobby, laminated vinyl plank, how much it's going to need or how big the area is, the gross square footage, waste, so on and so forth. But you can see that it's got all the different areas identified. It's showing what type of flooring is going in there. It's showing total with waste, all the information. And it should, materials and cost, give me all the materials that I'm going to need. And then weekend crew schedule. So it's got all the information here that I'm going to need as far as who's working on what they're doing, so on and so forth. I don't know. This looks kind of handy. I don't work in the industry, but I mean, this did this in 5 minutes. Even if this isn't correct, the nice thing is that you can now, I would imagine, if you wanted to, you could change, if it's not set up already, I could tell Claude to go ahead and change all of this based on calculations. So each one of these cells, if you changed a value, would then change all the other values. So for instance, if the unit price per square foot instead of 3.5 is 4.5, well, then it should change. Well, it does. Well, I'm wrong. It's already does that. So we don't have to tell Claude to do it. It's already going to update all the totals based on what I put in these things. So for instance, if you find that the drawing is wrong and this office in particular is 15 feet by 15 feet, if you update that, it's going to update the rest of the spreadsheet. But, let's take this a step farther. Let's go back to Claude, because spreadsheet's great, but what can we do here, right? What do I need to send to a client in order to win the bid? When in doubt, ask, right? So it's basically the proposal package, scope of work, itemized estimate, assumptions, blah, blah, blah. You know what? Can you prepare those for me? Make sure to use the branding available to you. Let's see what happens. I had to pause there for a minute because it took a few minutes, because this is the first time that we're doing this. And keep in mind that every time after this, it's going to be much quicker. So I started this process at 2:34 of creating these documents. It's 2:43, less than 10 minutes. We now have a contract that we can see, right? Contractor Mike's Flooring, client Bluefish, name, all the information about where we're applying, what we're doing, clean up upon project completion, materials, labor, subtotal, contract price, payment terms, schedule. I mean, this covers everything. Sign date. You might want to include some sample images of the actual flooring or something, but I mean, this is taking it pretty far. You can download this as a document. I can open this in Google Docs. I did want to show one other thing though. I showed the blueprint earlier and noticed that the blueprint still showed two of the offices that don't exist anymore. When I opened up that blueprint again, I also noticed that this library out here does not have any dimensions on it. So I don't think that Claude actually took that into consideration. So I'm going to double check. I'm going to tell it that office 113 and 114 are going to also be laminated vinyl plank, and to make those corrections, and that if it has not considered room 106 recognized as the library, that it should, and that the dimensions are 15 by 15, and add it to the quote, and then update all the documents. So this is, if I've finished all of this and I go back and I'm looking through my notes or in the blueprints, and I notice that there's something wrong, all's not lost. I just go back to Claude. So I'm going to go back to Claude and say, I notice room, 106, 106, library, and see what it says. Maybe it accounted for it. I don't think it did. Good catch. Okay, it's going to measure it itself. Okay, I think some of you in the flooring industry are going to find this interesting. So it did admit, like, hey, yeah, I missed that. I'm going to say, I need you to add that back in. And I also noticed that room, which one is this? 113 and 114. Okay, so I'm making a note that those offices don't actually exist anymore, and that they'll need to be included in the LVP versus the carpet totals. Okay, here we are. So it's taken us less than 30 minutes, and we now have all of our documents. So I can download all of these. So the nice thing about this is if you have these created, these are Word documents and also an Excel spreadsheet. But say you wanted to make a change. You just open this up, make the change, save it, send it. This has got everything in it that we're going to need. Let me say this. I'm not a lawyer. Have this reviewed, right? If you have language on a contract, that goes perfectly right here under files. If you already have language that you need to include in a contract, put it there. Claude will grab that language and make sure to include it in any new contracts. The other thing that you can do is now that I've got this, I can just add this as a resource. Now it has all of those documents. One of the things that I wanted to show you is you may get to an endpoint. Say you created the documents. Now what? You don't want to have to go through all of that every time that you need these documents for a new bid. This is supposed to speed your process up. The first time may take a little bit longer, but every time after that, it should be much quicker. Because I'm in a project, all I need to do is say, here's a new set of plans, build the full package, and it will do everything. I can change what materials are being used. I can change the deposit requested. I can change any aspect of this by just adding a little bit of text to that prompt right there. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to go back into Mike's project. I'm going to paste this. I'm going to change this to, I have a week to do the work. We are using marble and carpet. And I'm going to drag a floor plan that I have for our house into this. And I'm just going to click go. Let's see what we get. I just thought of something while we are waiting on Claude to give us our results. And that's that one of the things that you might want to include in those instructions are any specific brands that you use for thin set mortar, your grout, any of those things, and also the size quantities that they come in. So for instance, if your grout comes in 20-pound bags or your thin set mortar comes in 50-pound bags or 80-pound bags or whatever, you want to include that. That way when Claude is trying to calculate what you're going to need, it's going to be able to more closely give you those numbers. We started this at 3:01 and it's a little bit after 3:10 right now, and we're done. It's got all of the documents that I need for this. I'm going to download them all. So here are those files. It's created all the documents. Now, if this was me, I would go through and I would make sure all the formatting is the way that I'm going to want it in here. All the font choices, all the colors of the font, the colors that it uses in the table. Then I would save that document and I would re-upload that, replacing the document that you provided in the instructions, okay? And I would do that with all of these because you do it once and it's going to create it in that same format every single time. So this is basically building these documents from scratch, but you're doing it knowing that it's going to be easier every single time. So in less than 10 minutes, I've been able to create the 4 documents. So the proposal, the scope of work, the install plan, the contract, and all the estimation information that I'm going to need in a spreadsheet so that I can easily change those. Now, here's where it gets difficult, right? Where do you stop? I could go in here and say, can we make this into an app? I'm not going to let it do it. I just want to see if it'll say something here back real quick because I don't want to waste the tokens. So here it is. You could create your own app and have it available to you so that you can just go into this app and put in some basic information or upload the file, and it's just going to output all of this stuff for you. I do hope this is helpful. This is a way of, based on a blueprint, calculating the square footage for flooring usage, creating the spreadsheet that you need in order to see all the materials as well as the cost per room, and then a breakdown of what materials are needed, what your crew is going to look like, as well as all the supporting documentation that you would need for your client to sign and give you money. So hope this helps. If you would, subscribe and give this video a like. And if you have suggestions, either leave in the comments or send me a message through my website, marcusneto.com. Thank you for watching.